Milos, you can join me here slowly. Milos is Senior Backend Engineer working for the SMG team, as I said, and he will actually talk about money because what is the most traditional thing? It's actually the money, and it's the thing that actually is the probably most important for every and from every perspective, product, business, company. So let's dive deeper into the history of money and of course what will happen in the future. He's also a Bitcoin enthusiast. He has a lot of knowledge. I mean, it's like a side hobby, but it's not really a hobby, it's a serious thing. So he's very competent to talk about this topic. And Milos, the stage is yours. So,
Wow, thanks for such a nice introduction. So hello everybody. My name is Milos Mrdakovic. Okay, let me check how this works. Yeah, when I read about the topic of this year's conference, I immediately started thinking about the future of finance and how it's going to look like, especially in the context of AI-centric world. So I made a presentation about that. I will try to answer the question, what is money? That's obvious from the title of this presentation. I will also talk a bit about the history of money, that's the boring part. And I will talk a bit about the new form of electronic money and how we are going to use it in the future. So if you might ask why I'm talking about this. So before I joined SMG as a software engineer, I worked for quite a while in the fintech industry. I was building platforms on top of the emerging financial technologies. And after some time, I gravitated more towards the open source development and community building and education, hence this presentation. But the main reason why I want to talk about the technology of money, because I think the technology that we have today is so good that it cannot be ignored. I also think this applies to AI. Now, I'm not an AI expert, but these two technologies happen to complement each other really well. While AI technologies, let's say, it has quickly captured the mainstream attention, like today pretty much everyone is using AI and every single company is integrating AI in their products, and it is only in such a short period of time. We have electronic money for quite a while now, but the adoption was happening so much slower because the electronic money is competing in the most regulated market, and that is the market of money. So what is basically the reality that we have today? All of us here, we have mobile banking applications, right? And we can easily send the money directly from our bank account to abroad to some of our friends, or maybe pay for products or services abroad. And if you want to accept, like if you have online business, you want to accept payments, you can easily do that through platforms like Stripe. That's the most popular platform, right? But unfortunately, this is not the case in Serbia. Like developers probably know who have tried to implement payment gateways. Stripe doesn't work in Serbia. And also when I try to send money directly from bank account cross-border, it's super expensive. Sometimes it doesn't work. Actually, most of the time it doesn't work. And like you need the whole contract. Why are you sending stuff? So this is the reality that we live in today. But this is not only about Serbia, right? The large part of the world actually doesn't have, like, there is 1.2 billion of adults who don't have access to banking services. Such a huge number, in my opinion. I couldn't believe it. And this is data according to the World Bank research done in 2021. So this large number of the unbanked, they live in the south part of Asia, in parts of Africa, but in actually every part of the world, in every single country, even the most developed countries in the world, they have unbanked, right? So, so the first issue, like we've seen, no? How do I go back? Okay. So the first issue in the financial system today, I would say, is that there is a limited access to it. And then we have another issue, which I would say is mismanagement of the banks and legacy technology. So today, pretty much, if it happens that banks sometimes fail and that bank applications break, and in those cases, these are closed systems. So in those cases, you pretty much lose access to your funds. You cannot change application or something like that. You need to wait for the issue to be fixed, and then you regain access. And this actually happened. This news is from a couple of days before I started preparing this presentation, so this was very actual at that moment. And it says Bank of America is down, users report their account showing empty balance. They were seeing pretty much zero on their balance, and this caused like a mass hysteria among 20,000 customers. This also happens to other banks, but this was a large one, and it was covered by mainstream media, of course. Then another issue I would say is debanking or censorship. And if you have views which might be misaligned with your government, you might end up losing access to your bank account. And this actually happened in one of the most developed countries in the world, in Canada. A couple years ago, I think this was 2022, people who were protesting as part of the Freedom Convoy protest. It was really big news at that time. The government decided to freeze their bank accounts. Later, they regain access after some time, I don't know, but it is very inconvenient. Yes, let's go back. So these are all issues of the centralized platforms, and today we live in a digital age. We are in the process of migration from centralized platforms to decentralized protocols. You might already see like what's happening with X Twitter, like people are migrating towards Blue Sky and Mastodon, Nostr. These are the decentralized protocols that I was giving a talk last year here at the conference. And this year I want to talk about decentralized payment protocols. But before that, let's talk what is money. So money is not a natural thing. It doesn't grow on a tree. Money is a human abstraction. It is a tool that solves a problem, right? And although many people don't see it that way, money is technology. So to see the problem, we must go back to the world before money. Before money, people were exchanging products in barter. So barter is direct exchange of products and services. And this practice has endured like thousands of years of civilization with the development of agriculture. Farmers, for example, they produce a lot of one thing, but they need other things. So this is a common type of trade in the farmers market even to this day. But for others, right, this type of trade is often limiting or impossible. What are the issues here? So you have a direct dependency. Both trading partners, they have a direct dependency on the goods that they are getting in return, right? And even when that dependency is satisfied, the goods can be too bulky and hard to subdivide. So money is a solution to the problem of the barter trade. And medium of exchange is something both trading partners are willing to accept in exchange for goods. So throughout history, a variety of commodities were used as a medium of exchange. So this is one of the earliest forms, which is seashells, thousand years ago, used for that. But then we also have coffee was used in some places as a medium of exchange. We also have cigarettes. If you watch Hollywood movies, you see in prison that they use cigarettes as money. And of course, we have silver and we have gold. And eventually, over time, like in the most developed societies, precious metals were preferred as a medium of exchange over the other goods. And when a medium of exchange is generally accepted in society, it's called money. So there are some issues with commodity money like gold and silver. You can see that pictured here. They are a good store of value, but they can be actually really sometimes bad medium of exchange. Just imagine today going to shopping with only silver coins or doing a large trade with coins. That's pretty much impossible. So you only do that if you want someone to suffer. And this is what this US businessman did. He decided to pay his $3,000 tax bill using 300,000 coins. And I've also witnessed similar situation in the parking service in Novi Sad, which was really interesting to see. So after the development of printer, the paper and the printer, someone in China came up with the idea to print paper money or paper certificates. So how that would work basically is that a third party would take custody of your store your commodity money, and in exchange give you like these paper certificates, and then you could at any time redeem the commodity money with this paper certificate, you or someone else who you traded with. So here we can see the US dollar back in the day when it was backed by gold, I think. And you could redeem this paper. You could go to the central bank and you could redeem this paper for a certain amount of gold. But what is the issue with this system is that now you're introducing a central place, like there is a third party who is storing commodity money and who is printing the paper. And soon the government took over the printer, and then they decided to print more paper money than there is the backing asset. So this is what we ended up with today. This is fiat money. It has nothing to do with the fiat brand. So fiat money is basically money without the backing asset. It is backed purely by the government, and it is often inflated. They print more money than the economy is expanding. So yeah, there is no, it doesn't have to follow its historic performance or even exist in the future. So here we can see like United States is one of the most powerful countries in the world, right? And its currency is one of the best in the world. And here we can see in this chart that even the currency of one of the strongest countries in the world performs terribly comparing to gold. And this is only in the last 4 years. It's lost so much purchasing power, right? Because they printed more money. And here in this example, we can also see the Egyptian pound, weaker economically country, and with worse currency, and how terribly it has performed only in the last 4 years comparing to US dollar. So we can say that monies compete from the previous two examples, and we tend to save in money which we think will perform better, right, in the future, like keep the value. So today we live in the digital age. Like the internet has allowed like super fast or instant information transfer across the globe. You can surf the web, you can play video games, you can make audio video calls, all of that mostly in a permissionless manner. But if you want to send cross-border transactions, you cannot do that because the current financial system is made for the fiat money and for the nation state control. So that's quite difficult. And in the digital age, we need fast, cheap, and we need permissionless payments, especially with the upcoming new players in the market, the AI agents, right? So the information technologies have like developed various financial instruments which are very useful for transferring money, but they cannot be confused with electronic money, right? So here, for example, we have Visa, MasterCard, PayPal, Apple Pay, Google Pay. I think most of us, all of us, we are familiar with these systems. We use them every day, but in the end, they are just businesses that can fail, and they are taking a percentage from your transactions, and from the merchants which accept transactions, they can increase them without any special justification, and etc. A bit different is Thaler. This is open source software which is being developed, right? Still in development, and we are yet to see how it works, but I'm really looking forward to find out how it works because it's a good improvement over the current systems. And we have like the first electronic money, which was created in 2009. So Bitcoin. we have like Bitcoin is built on the decades of innovation in the cryptography and mathematics. It is backed by mathematics and by energy. In fact, it is backed by so much energy that no single entity or group of people can control the network. There is no central point of failure. Nobody knows who created it, so nobody can like make pressure or make some changes to the protocol. It is basically a money, internet native money, the protocol. So we have first time a true electronic money, and here we can see how was the first block that was when the network started working on 3rd of January 2009, how the first work looks in the hex version of the first block. And it is like the first time we have fast, we have cheap, and we have permissionless transaction capabilities. Because everyone can join to the network, everyone can contribute to the network. And it seems to be the money that AI especially would appreciate now. So how do we see this new form of electronic money? Of course, this is just the first electronic money, the first real electronic money, I would say. The code is open source, so anyone can expect the code, fork it, and etc. Many have tried to fork the code and create a new forms of electronic money, but all of them are pretty much irrelevant today. So how are we seeing right now the new form of money being integrated in existing solutions? So here we come to the long forgotten HTTP 402 status code. So I guess like most of my colleagues, web developers here, know what is HTTP code 402. It is a payment required. There is no there is no standard for how it's to be implemented because it is still like reserved for the future use. So, but we see nowadays, we see more and more developers working on these ideas and solutions, and we have a lot of libraries that you can hook into your servers and get these capabilities with HTTP 402. So basically, if you have a web server and you want to put a paywall behind some endpoint, you would return HTTP 402, and we did some kind of invoice or instructions that you expect to be paid with electronic money. And then, for example, I, as a user, could open my digital wallet, pay that, and then send a proof of payment and gain access to whatever is behind this code. Like maybe it is file, or maybe I want to do like computations. So we already see that actually there are quite a few applications which let you use popular AI chatbots, and instead of paying a monthly subscription, you can actually pay per request with solutions like this. So you don't have to pay $20 a month every month. If you call it like 10 times in a month, maybe you can just pay, I don't know, half of a dollar, right? So this is one use case. And we see the rising importance of AI agents. And they don't have a bank account, they don't have ID, they cannot own a house, gold, or something like that. They don't care about that. And there are already thousands of them, there will be millions of them. Eventually, like they all specialize in different things to perform certain tasks. And eventually, to perform the task, they would want to interact with other agents, right? If there is a complex task that needs to be performed, and they would also need to pay for that another agent. So we have a whole new economy here, and as I said, they cannot own like traditional assets, but they can make digital wallets, right? And there are already like adapters that which teach them how to create wallets, how to send transactions, how to receive transactions. And there is a funny news actually from yesterday. I saw that someone has already did like a prompt injection, I think that's called nowadays, when you hack prompts and convinced agent to send them all of their electronic money. So yeah. And here we can see how one example of agent marketplace that I found online. Um, a list of agents, basically, all specializing in different things, and you can hire an agent to do a task for you, like meme maker agent, keyword research agent, web page copy editor, and many other options. So to sum it up, money is a technology that solves the problems of trade. Monies compete. We saw that gold is pretty good money, but hard to store, divide, and transfer. And fiat money is good in all of these things, but it's really bad at maintaining value, right? And it happens that electronic money can actually be both. That's why sometimes we refer to digital currencies like Bitcoin as digital gold. So because its value historically increases in fiat terms, easy store, divide, and transfer. And it wouldn't be fun if I were not to make some predictions. Here I want to quote Marshall McLuhan, a Canadian philosopher. He was researching media theory, and he said the content of any new medium is an older medium. So like we've seen, television didn't kill radio, right? The internet didn't kill the television, but it consumed it. It made it like less relevant, let's say. And we can say in the same way that electronic money is not going to kill the fiat money and the current financial system, but it is going to consume it and it is going to make it less relevant. And that is already happening. And we can say the same about AI, right? It is not going to kill all human jobs, but it is already consuming many and making them less relevant. So that would be it. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you.
Okay. You're not cooperating anymore. Turn it a bit down. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Milos.
Hope I was on time, or maybe
It was
shorter
great.
than, but yeah, it's already late.
Do you guys have any questions? Are you worried? Not particularly. Well, after I heard for the first time this presentation, I couldn't stop thinking about what if AI agents, decide not to talk with each other. If one is owning my bank account and the other one wants to do online shopping, what's going to happen there? So nobody's worried. Okay. So I do have a question for you to start to open the discussion. Do you think that the traditional financial institutions, like we know them today, will actually completely change, and will they change at all? Because the money as a medium changed through time, but I have a feeling that financial institutions are more or less the same throughout the history. So maybe just your point of view.
So I think they're already changing, just the pace of change is a lot slower, like already mentioned, because we are here in the money market, the most regulated market in the world. And it is very important for the governments for control. So they don't really look forward adopting like electronic money. Definitely the system is changing, especially now since we have countries which have adopted electronic money as a legal tender. And now, as we have like in the US, they started talking about making a reserve, like for example with Bitcoin. So there is more and more banks. They're more open to the idea. Just the process takes a lot of time, but definitely it's changing, and we are going to see a lot of changes, in my opinion. And like pretty much everyone today can be their own bank, so that's already a big change.
Yeah, but what about those billions of people who doesn't have the bank accounts yet? That was, for me, honestly impressive information.
Yeah, I think most of those people still have like smartphone and access to a computer or something like that. Like maybe the banking services are far away from them or they don't have them, but I think most of the people today have access to phones. Most of the planet today is covered via internet or satellite internet. So with a bit of education, I think everyone can easily access this new form of money and the network and contribute to the network. So that is no more a barrier for that.
Thank you. Anybody else? Anything additional? Okay, then thank you,
Thanks.
Milos, very much.